void that you had at 22 that you were trying to fill, what is it filled with now?
Now it's filled with love, compassion. It's filled with overwhelming desire to do the right thing. Now that I know what to do, you see, then I didn't know. Now I do know. You know? And so now that I do know, I want an opportunity to exercise it. And so that void no longer exists. You know, it's now that I've learned everything there is about it, it's like a bad taste in your mouth. You know, and I realized how easy it would have been had I'd invested 6 years in becoming a lawyer.
And you said that you was getting caught up in the traps that were out there for young black men at the time. So can you explain a little bit more about how you got to that point? What you had?
Okay, well, I came up in one-parent home. There was never a father figure there, except occasionally. My father, my biological father, was never with my mother during the time that I was growing up. Okay, but I had a stepfather, and my stepfather, he was into all of the drinking and bootlegging and all of that stuff. He even shot a guy one time, and we was raised up in what you call a shotgun house. It was 5 kids, and everybody was scrapping to get whatever they could get, and I always, with my cousin, the guy who I was on charge with, we was living in Texas County at this time. He lived in El Dorado. That's where my mother's from, El Dorado. I was born in Texas County. Okay, well, he would come to Texas County, on 2 or 3 different occasions. I was about 9 or 10 years old when I became attracted to him because he always had money, he always dressed decent and what have you. Well, we had hardly anything, and so I asked him, somewhere along the line, I got involved with just plain stealing with him, so I could have nice things because I wanted to have those nice things. I saw other kids at school and what have you that had nicer things, so I wanted that too, and by me not knowing that their parents were, they had what you may call a decent family, with a mother and father with good jobs and what have you. Well, we was on welfare all the time, and so my mother couldn't afford to give us these luxuries that I saw at a young age and desired. So I took it upon myself, to try to get these things, and ultimately it landed me in jail on several different occasions. But I still wouldn't stop because I never got my fill. I never was satisfied. I never was able to get what I really wanted. And I didn't understand what I was after because as fast as I got it, it left, And so it was never any satisfaction there. It was just a constant going, stealing, doing this, doing that, and it was just, what I wanted to identify with the people that were doing better than I was. You know.
Do you, looking back, do you know what you were after?
Yes, I do. It was a shell, it was an empty shell, and I know that people that were in my condition at that time, or people in my condition today, young people that are in my condition as I was then, those that are in my condition today, they feel the same thing I felt back then, you know. But now there's an opportunity for them to be exposed to positive things. You know. I wasn't, you know. It was always some type of negativity around me somewhere. This is how I was raised, you know.
And then, when you were growing up, was there anybody trying hard to teach you responsibility and hold you accountable?
No, I have to actually say that it wasn't, you know. I had, sporadically, there were people, I had an uncle that tried to torture me, you know, but I was never around him long enough to actually absorb what he said, you know. He didn't have time to just, you know, instill some type of value in me, some type of core value or what have you. You know, he just come through periodically, and he would always just comment about how good of a person I could be and what have you. You know, and I just threw it to the wind. So you have young people, the same as I was when I came to prison, doing the same thing, you know, trying to live this fast life, you know, believing that this is the way to go, you know. But today, men are talking to them about that, you know.
Why were you going to the hospital?
Oh, I went to the hospital because I had this internal bleeding and what have you, and the doctor took me to the hospital, had me sent to the hospital at St. Vincent there to see if they could find out exactly what was going on with me, because at the unit I was at, well, let's start at the beginning of this. I was at the Max unit, and all of a sudden I began to get weak in my legs and what have you, and I began to lose my balance.
And how long ago was this?
This has been maybe a month and a half, you know, a month and a half ago. I began to lose my balance and things like this. So I was taken to the infirmary, and one of the nurses recognized that I was just discombobulated, that I needed special attention. And so she recommended that I go out to the Free World Hospital. Okay, when I went out to the Free World Hospital, which was St. Vincent, my first trip, they determined that I had respiratory problems and that I had gallstones, you know, but they couldn't afford to do any surgery or anything because they said that they was afraid that if they did anything that I would bleed out on the inside. So they didn't do anything. They just did an MRI and a CAT scan, you know, and sent me on back. Well, about 2 or 3 weeks after coming to this unit, the doctor sent me back out to St. Vincent, you know. And so at that time, they did what you call an endoscopic and went in and looked at my insides, and they determined that I had some type of internal bleeding, you know. So they supposedly closed off 2 arteries at that time. Then I come back, and this past Thursday of last week, I was sent out to Hot Springs because internal bleeding was still going on. I was sent out, and they cauterized my ulcers, and so this is what they did, another endoscopy. And then this doctor, Dr. Braven, he when he did the endoscopy, he determined that was the problem, that bleeding from the ulcers. So we cauterized those, and so now that's where I am medically. We're waiting on a prognosis on that. I'm giving blood tests and different things like that right now to determine if this is stopped. And if not, then I'll be going back out again to another hospital. But right now, that's the medical issues that I'm dealing with. Besides hepatitis C, the doctor here at this unit, Dr. McKinney, he's trying to get me on a medication. Well, years ago, they didn't have a medication that would help me because of the side effects. They said that the medication would hurt me because I have HIV as well. And so he said having those two, I forget the name that he used, but having those two, it would be hard for me to take the medication at that time. Well, now this medication, which is called Harvonic, you can take that medication. It's a 12-week process. So right now, the immediate thing is for them to take care of this internal bleeding, find out definitely what that is, and the hepatitis C, get those stopped.
So you're having issues with your hepatitis C right now too. And so how chronic is it, the hepatitis C?
To be honest, I'm just a faithful type person, and I give all of this to God, brother. So, but I just believe that God is going to take care of this, and I just don't worry about it. So I just wake up daily and I fight this.
And where are we having this conversation right now? Where are we?
We're at Malvern unit. We're in the hospital ward of Malvern unit.
And since 2012, how often would you say you go to the hospital?
Since 2012, I've gone to the hospital no less than maybe 5 or 6 times.
6 times. Those are your pills. How many pills are there?
Brother, this is now in the morning time. I take twice as many.
So how many are you in hand now?
7.
7. So you take how many in the morning?
In the morning. Well, see, this one is one that coat my stomach. This is propanolol that is a blood pressure pill. This is the iron pill. This is what do they call it? Gabapentin, and they explained to it what this was for. This is a stool softener, and the other two is I forget what they are.
How many pills do you think you could take a day?
A day, I take about 12 pills in the morning. I take these, and I take 6 at night. About 20 to 25 pills.